There is a fast food chain in the United States that closes every single Sunday, operates fewer locations than most of its major competitors, and still manages to generate more revenue per restaurant than McDonald's, Starbucks, and Subway combined. That chain is Chick-fil-A, and the story of how it got there is one of the most fascinating case studies in modern business history. It did not win by being everywhere. It did not win by having the largest menu or the flashiest marketing campaigns. It won by doing something deceptively simple, extraordinarily well, and then refusing to compromise on that standard no matter how large it grew. At the center of everything is a single product, the original chicken sandwich, a pressure-cooked, pickle-brined, buttered bun creation that has become one of the most recognizable items in American fast food. That sandwich is not just a menu item. It is the foundation of an entire operational philosophy, a brand identity, and a loyalty machine that competitors have spent decades trying to replicate without success. Understanding why Chick-fil-A dominates means understanding how one product, one culture, and one obsessive commitment to consistency can outperform scale, spending, and size every single time. Walk into any Chick-fil-A during a lunch rush, and you will notice something immediately. It does not feel chaotic. Despite the lines, the volume of orders, and the sheer number of people moving through the space, there is a rhythm to it. That rhythm is not accidental. It is the result of an operational model that has been refined over decades with near-surgical precision. Chick-fil-A kitchens are designed around speed and consistency. Every process, from how the chicken is marinated to how the sandwiches are assembled, follows a standardized system that removes as much human variability as possible. The pressure cooking method used for their chicken was actually pioneered by the company's founder, Truett Cathy, back in 1946, and it remains central to their process today because it delivers a consistently juicy result in a fraction of the time of conventional frying. But the kitchen is only part of the story. The front-of-house operation at Chick-fil-A is equally engineered. During peak hours, employees are stationed outside in the drive-through line with tablets, taking orders face-to-face before customers even reach the window. This system, which the company calls mobile order taking, dramatically reduces wait times and increases throughput. The result is a drive-through that consistently ranks as the fastest and most accurate in the fast food industry, year after year, according to data from QSR Magazine's annual drive-through study. Operational efficiency alone does not explain the Chick-fil-A phenomenon. Plenty of fast food chains run tight kitchens and still deliver a forgettable experience. What separates Chick-fil-A is the human layer on top of the operational foundation, a service culture so deliberately cultivated that it has become a defining part of the brand's identity. The phrase, "my pleasure," which employees use instead of "you're welcome," has become so associated with the chain that it is now a cultural reference point. That is not a coincidence. It is the result of intentional training that begins from the moment someone is hired. Chick-fil-A operators, the term used for the individual franchise owners who run each location, go through an extraordinarily selective process. The company accepts less than 1% of operator applicants, a rate more selective than Harvard University's admissions process. Those operators are then deeply invested in the culture of their specific location, creating a sense of ownership and accountability that is rare in the franchise model. This filters down to the staff. Employees at Chick-fil-A are consistently rated as the most polite in fast food, and that is not simply a matter of personality. It is a product of hiring standards, training protocols, and a workplace culture that emphasizes dignity and respect in a way that most fast food environments do not. One of the most counterintuitive elements of Chick-fil-A's dominance is what it chooses not to do. The chain is closed every Sunday, a policy rooted in the religious convictions of its founder and maintained to this day, despite the obvious revenue implications. By most estimates, closing on Sundays costs Chick-fil-A billions of dollars in potential annual sales. And yet, rather than hurting the brand, this limitation has become one of its greatest assets. Scarcity creates desire. When something is not always available, people want it more. The Sunday closure has become part of Chick-fil-A's mythology. The reason people joke about craving it specifically on the one day they cannot have it. It also reinforces the brand's identity as something different, something that operates by its own rules rather than chasing every possible dollar. The same logic applies to the menu. Chick-fil-A's menu is deliberately focused compared to competitors like McDonald's or Taco Bell. Rather than expanding endlessly to capture every possible customer preference, the company has maintained a tight core menu built around chicken. This focus allows the kitchen to operate with maximum efficiency, ensures that quality remains high across every item, and keeps the brand identity clear and coherent. Every time a competitor launches a chicken sandwich to challenge Chick-fil-A's dominance, they are essentially entering Chick-fil-A's territory on Chick-fil-A's terms, and they are doing it with a broader, less focused operation that cannot match the depth of expertise Chick-fil-A has built around a single protein over nearly 8 decades. Revenue per location is the metric that most starkly illustrates Chick-fil-A's dominance. The average Chick-fil-A location generates approximately $8 million in annual revenue. For context, the average McDonald's location generates roughly $3.6 million. That gap is not explained by price point alone. It is explained by frequency, how often customers come back, and how much they spend when they do. Chick-fil-A's loyalty program, called Chick-fil-A One, has become one of the most effective in the fast food industry. It uses a tiered reward system that incentivizes repeat visits and higher spending, and it collects data that allows the company to personalize offers and communications in ways that feel relevant rather than generic. But the deeper loyalty driver is not the app. It is the experience itself. Research consistently shows that customers who feel genuinely welcomed and respected are more likely to return, more likely to spend more, and more likely to recommend the brand to others. Chick-fil-A has built an operation that delivers that feeling at scale, across thousands of locations, with a consistency that is genuinely remarkable given the inherent variability of human service. Behind the counter and beneath the brand story is a supply chain operation that makes everything else possible. Chick-fil-A sources its chicken exclusively from suppliers who meet strict standards around animal welfare, feed quality, and processing practices. The company has made public commitments around antibiotic use and has invested heavily in building supplier relationships that prioritize consistency over cost-cutting. This matters because quality at scale is genuinely hard. The larger a food chain grows, the more pressure there is to reduce input costs, accept variability, and prioritize margin over product integrity. Chick-fil-A has resisted that pressure more successfully than almost any other chain at its size, and the result is a product that tastes the same whether you are eating it in Atlanta, Georgia, or Anchorage, Alaska. That consistency is not just a quality story, it is a trust story. Customers who know exactly what they are going to get are customers who come back without hesitation. Every major fast food chain has tried to answer Chick-fil-A in some way. Popeyes launched its own chicken sandwich in 2019 to enormous fanfare and genuine sales success. McDonald's revamped its chicken lineup. Wendy's doubled down on its own offerings, and yet none of them have fundamentally threatened Chick-fil-A's position, because the sandwich was never really the moat. The moat is the entire system, the operational discipline, the service culture, the selective franchise model, the focused menu, the supply chain integrity, and the brand identity that has been built over nearly 80 years. You can copy a recipe. You cannot easily copy a culture, a training system, a supplier network, and a customer relationship that has been compounding for decades. Chick-fil-A dominates fast food not because it found a clever trick, but because it built something real, maintained it with extraordinary discipline, and never confused growth with greatness. That combination, operational excellence meeting genuine human connection, is the formula, and it turns out it is one of the hardest things in business to replicate.